recently took a few days away from Florida to visit friends in the great state of Texas. While I love my Florida home, nothing beats spending time in Texas. Texans are proud of their state, and for good reason. Between the history, the natural beauty, and the barbecue, there's a lot to be proud of here. I spent my time in and around the Texas Hill Country, which has a very unique topography and just looks cool. Here in the Blanco Cemetery, I started off my trip by visiting the grave of an original Texas revolutionary who fought in several battles in the War for Texan Independence from Mexico in 1836. A major highlight of the trip was visiting the San Antonio Missions National Historic Park. The park includes 4 of the 5 historic Spanish missions located in San Antonio. And together with the famous Alamo, the missions are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Our first stop was Mission San Jose, which was built in 1768. Now, each mission was surrounded with walls to protect from attacks by native tribes in the area. The missionaries were tasked with converting the native populations to Catholicism and also with building self-sustaining communities within the territory held by the Spanish Crown. Native families would live in small apartments located along the walls of each mission, and daily life included working the soil and trading goods with the other missions, as well as attending Mass in the mission church. The missions have each been very well maintained, since they are each still currently home to functioning Roman Catholic congregations. Next up was Mission Concepcion, built in 1731. Concepcion is the most well-maintained of the missions. As with the other missions, Mass is still held here each and every Sunday. Ownership of the 5 missions is somewhat complicated. The National Park Service maintains the grounds surrounding each one, but the Archdiocese of San Antonio maintains the church buildings themselves, which is why they're still home to functioning congregations. The Alamo, which is not included in the park, is owned by the state of Texas and is maintained as a museum which draws tens of thousands of visitors each year. Next up was my favorite one, Mission San Juan Capistrano. Walking around here felt so peaceful, and the weather could not have been any better than it was today.
So beautiful in here.
It is so beautiful in here.
This place is too.
I know.
This
It
is
is very
just.
cool.
Mission San Juan was established in 1716. One of the buildings here is currently the rectory of the church. That's what Catholic people call the parsonage. And since the parish priest lives there, you can't go in. Not a bad place to live, I'd say. Somebody's phone always going off in church. Just a short distance away is Mission Espada, established in 1690, which is the southernmost of the 5 historic missions here. The sanctuary was originally built to house the church sacristy, but has functioned as the church sanctuary for over 200 years. Unfortunately, the church itself was locked, so we couldn't go inside, but the grounds were very peaceful and enjoyable to walk around. Our last stop was the venerated Alamo Mission, originally called Mission San Antonio de Valero. You can't take photos or video inside, but just walking the famous grounds was humbling in and of itself. The next morning, on the road between Blanco and Fredericksburg, we pulled off at Luckenbach, Texas, population 3, where everybody is somebody. We hoped we'd see Waylon and Willie and the boys, but they weren't there at the time. Luckenbach is a small ghost town that's home to a famous dance hall and a former post office. You can buy souvenirs at the shop in the old post office, and you can spend your evenings with everybody else feeling no pain. Now, Texas has many wonderful state parks that are each worth a visit. At Old Tunnel State Park, you can see an old railroad tunnel which was carved into the hillside in the late 1800s to bring the Union Pacific Rail line through the area to boost the local economy. The rail line was shut down and the rails dismantled in 1942. Now, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that part of the reason for this was to use the scrap metal for production during World War II. Anyway, today you can walk the trails along the old rail bed, and from May to October each year, You can come out here nightly to watch upwards of 3 million Mexican free-tailed bats leave the old tunnel for their nightly feeding frenzy. The hill country of central Texas is very unique in its topography. Unlike Florida, there's not a single longleaf pine in sight here. It's beautiful country for sure. This afternoon it got particularly hazy and dusty, brought on by some pretty strong winds, so the views weren't that great, but that didn't stop us from visiting Enchanted Rock. Enchanted Rock is a huge pink granite dome rising over 400 feet above the surface of the ground surrounding it. It's the largest dome of its type known in the country, and it's definitely worth a visit if you're out this way. Like I said already, the wind was really strong on this particular day, and the higher we climbed, the stronger the wind got, which, truth be told, made the experience of climbing the dome all the more wild and enjoyable. I also stopped by the old Blanco County Courthouse. Built in 1886, it was only used as the county courthouse for 4 years before the county seat was moved up north to Johnson City. After that, it served as a hospital, a school, an office building, barbecue restaurant, meeting hall, bank, museum, and even once as a private residence. Most notably, it was used as a set in the Coen brothers' 2010 remake of True Grit, in which Rooster Cogburn, played by the famous Jeff Bridges, is petitioned by a young girl to help capture her father's killer. Today, the courthouse is home to several local business offices and the Chamber of Commerce, and it's open daily for visits as well. You can also learn about Blanco County's history, including that of its most famous resident, former United States President Lyndon Johnson, who is buried just a few miles away from here. When in Austin, one must go by and see the state capitol building, which is built with pink granite, just like that we saw at Enchanted Rock. Down in southeast Austin, we went to McKinney Falls State Park, which was both beautiful and unexpected. The falls aren't huge, but they're still pretty awesome to see. The area was once home to a volcano many moons ago, and the volcanic debris mixed with the limestone rock here. The volcanic rock eroded away much faster than the limestone, giving way to the falls and the unique rock shelters that you see here. Onion Creek flows through the park and makes for a heck of a swimming hole on a hot sunny day. Native Americans used the area for water and shelter along with their hunting grounds, and with the settling of Texas by Spanish and then American transplants, the falls became the home of a man named Thomas McKinney, who built a large stone house and grist mill which operated off the falls. A little ways down a beautiful trail, you'll find the remains of the old McKinney house, which unfortunately burned in the 1940s. What you see here is the half of the house that remained standing after the fire. McKinney Falls State Park is no doubt one of the many natural gems found in Texas, and it is definitely worth a visit. The only thing better than a Texas Hill Country sunset is the Texas Hill Country sunrise that you'll see the next morning. Here at this small picnic stop on the road called the Devil's Backbone, it's apparently a thing to hang a cross on the fence here. On the way back toward home, I stopped off for a break at Big Thicket National Preserve in Kuntz, Texas. The Big Thicket is the name given to a large marshy woodland area in southeast Texas, and portions of this area are preserved by the National Park Service. I didn't have long to visit, but the Kirby Nature Trail offered a well-needed leg stretch, and the scenery here was strikingly similar to what we typically find at home in the Florida Panhandle. Overall, I had a really great time visiting Texas once again, and I'm looking forward to going back sometime in the future. I may not be from here, but I still think Texas is something we can all be proud of.